I got to college, my mindset was that I wanted to meet new people. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to experience the things that I didn't get to experience in high school. I figured I didn't party in high school, so I'm definitely going to party in college. It seemed to be a lot of fun at the beginning, but eventually fun had consequences. Honestly, I just realized I wanted to drink, you know? I wanted to drink pretty much every day of the week. Second semester, that's what I did. I drank at least 6 out of the 7 days of the week. I no longer considered it a priority to wake up in the morning to get to my early classes if I had a hangover. My priorities changed. My second semester of my first year, I failed every class.
I need one for the pasta with the black bottom. Yeah, flat pan. Typical day was, I would do anything to get money, first off. That was like my first thing. Get up, let's pawn something, let's go steal my dad's debit card, anything to get high. I started using probably around 12 years old, I think. I really just started drinking and smoking weed, and it was because I was hanging out with older girls. The first time that I ever tried heroin, that's when I found myself just taking off so fast, and I didn't even really notice it. At the beginning, I just lost friends because they didn't want to be around a heroin addict. I've grown up in Catholic schools, and people see that as just the worst thing you can do. And, I could understand that, but I didn't care. So I started losing friends. Eventually, family members wouldn't talk to me.
I started gangbanging early, 9 years old. And then I started smoking cigarettes, and after feeling cool smoking cigarettes came the marijuana, which was the gateway, and I say that came about 11 years old. So going from 9 to 11, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, then I picked up the bottle and came to drinking. And your body at 11 years old is not capable of handling my intake. And so from there, it just became an addiction. It became a day in, day out. I went to school up until about 8th grade, 9th grade, and then I decided to stop 9th grade because I had the mentality that I did not care, And with that mentality, I really lived by those means and those words. When I say I didn't care, I didn't care, So I dropped out of school to gangbang full time. And then it was fun at first, fighting and running around, and all the money that I was making. I made a ton of money doing it, but then I would say by the time I was supposed to be in the 12th grade, that's when people started dying. And then that's when it became reality. That's when it hits you in the face, when you start losing people. There was a time where I did 7 funerals in 1 month. That's a lot of people to bury in 1 month.
I always had to have more, something bigger, better, stronger than anybody else. And it kind of carried over other areas of my life all the way up to when I was 8, 9 years old, stealing, little cigarettes from family members or alcohol from parents' parties, things like that, all the way out to when I was 11 years old trying crystal meth for the first time. It got to the point when I was 13 years old, right at the end of everything happening. I hated myself so much and everything, that had to do with me. I just looked at myself in the mirror one time and I just said, this is me. This is exactly where I'm at. This is what I'm going to be for the rest of my life. My face was all sunk in. I was 110, 115 pounds. I haven't eaten in forever, haven't slept in a few days, and, I'm fixing to start my first day of high school. I just hated myself so much.
I was very good at keeping family life and then my life separate. I had the real me And then I had the facade me. I would always go home and, my mom would ask me, oh, you're not supposed to drink or smoke cigarettes. They're bad for you. I would always be like, oh, yeah, Mom, I'll never do that. Because I looked like a good kid. I was pretty young. I was 11 years old when I first started using. And I was hanging out with this girl, and, we started drinking and smoking a little pot. And after that, it progressed pretty quickly. Within a couple weeks, I was popping pills, and then a couple months, I was doing heroin, and I was only 12 years old. I was busted. They were asking me, oh, what's this? Why do you have all this stuff? It was clear that all of this was mine, and that I had no excuse for it. I just stood there silently. They went through my room, tore everything up, trying to find what I had. And I had a bag that I had at my friend's and I came home with, and it had some pills in it. And that's the only thing they didn't find. I knew exactly what I was gonna do. I got a marker and wrote in the mirror my suicide message. And I took a bunch of pills and tried to kill myself, just lay down, went to sleep.
Hi, my name is Kelly Hands.
My name is Andrew Bell.
My name is Joshua Buchanan.
I'm a recovering drug addict.
I am a recovering addict.
I'm a recovering addict.
My sobriety date is March 13th, 2012.
I'm 19 years old and I'm a recovering heroin addict.
All right, the court calls next the case of State versus Colin Horry. Kyle, would you come up, please? Kyle, how are you doing?
Been doing fairly well.
Okay, good. And tell me how things are going in your life.
I've got a job, working full time, going to IOP twice a week, going to 3 AA meetings a week. I started using drugs when I was 14 years old. I was in Boy Scouts, and there was a group of scouts, my friend's older brothers, that would smoke pot during the campouts. And so I started smoking pot. It's really creepy because when I started smoking, I remember telling someone that once I started doing this, I felt that I liked it so much I wasn't going to be able to stop. It just progressed. And by the time I was 15, 16, I was using cocaine and ecstasy and a lot more hardcore drugs, and it finally just built its way up to heroin. I didn't get caught until it was between 18 and 19 years old, and that was for robbing a house. One of my friends was watching this house, and I had broken into houses before, but I knew this would be easy, and I did that, and his dad eventually found out within 24 hours and knew it was us, and he made his son try to get us to bring back the goods that we stole. I had already sold off everything. I sold it for cocaine and Xanax, and I did about 5.5 grams of cocaine in roughly 3 hours and took about 15 Xanax and overdosed and got taken to the hospital. And then I eventually got taken to a mental institution because they thought I was suicidal.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Man, I haven't seen you in forever.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Okay.
Pretty good.
Everybody staying clean?
Yeah.
Everybody staying clean?
Yeah.
I was 14 years old when I first tried meth. I just fell in love with it, and it took over my life, and I was out of control, and it was in control. I had nothing. It was just meth every day.
My drug of choice was cocaine and ecstasy. And I had like drugs all over my face, and I'm laying there on the couch, and my mom comes in, and she's like, yo, what's going on, How are you feeling? And I didn't know how to answer that question, because at that time I was just like living, just whatever. Anything came along, everything. Do what I do what I want to do, when I want to do, how I want to do.
Actually, right when I first started using, heavy drugs, it was for me. I was chasing the high. I wanted to use drugs because I wanted that high, because it felt good. And over a period of time, that high just disappeared, and it became a trap for me. And instead of me actually wanting to use drugs, I wake up having to use drugs. And I had to do something about it, because if I didn't, I would get sick.
I mean, you just said it perfectly, a slave to heroin. I mean, I could not see myself without it. I really felt like I just did not want to wake up the next day. My life was hell. And that's the best way I can put it. Just hell.
Death was the only thing I was looking at. What I'm learning today is that there are three things that we people who are like me that go through. It's jails, institutions, and death. You know, I've dodged a bullet on jail. I did have to fortunately spend time in an institution, but you know, death was the only thing that stood out to me. The only thing could stop me.
While in jail, I started feeling the withdrawals, and they put me in the infirmary. And I was there for about 7 days, just kind of detoxing, which is really dangerous coming off of Xanax too, because you can die from Xanax withdrawals. So it was probably the worst experience of my life. I was hallucinating. I thought I was having conversations with some of my friends that had died from drug overdoses, and when I kind of came out of that fog, that's when I was just like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again.
Judge, at this point, the state has no concerns. We think that the current plan that's in place is working. The probation reports no violations, so at this time we recommend no changes to his current probation plan.
All right, thank you.
The program consisted of a lot of different aspects. One of the things you had to do was you had to start going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, or Narcotics Anonymous, it didn't matter, at least 3 times a week. One of the big things that kept you on your toes was you got drug tested at least 3 times a week, and it was random. You woke up every morning and you had a certain amount of time to call in, and it would either tell you had a drug test or tell you no, you don't have a drug test. Once a week you would come into Judge Wheelis' courtroom, and you'd meet with the judge and the rest of his staff, and it was just basically, you just got to get a mindset that this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to do it, and this is the way you're going to make your life from then on.
Honestly, a big thing that changed everything, the Father's Day before I got sober, I went and had breakfast with my dad. Of course, I had been doing drugs the night before, and I was still high when I went and had breakfast with him. It was so bad at the place that we went to eat that I could barely talk, I could barely place my order. And afterwards, when my dad said goodbye, he said, "I love you, but what have you done with my son?" And that's when I really started to take a look at who I was becoming.
Never in my life did I want to go up to my dad and say, "Hey, I am a heroin addict." And that's what it ended up as. I mean, I had to eventually tell my dad every single thing that I had done. And that was probably the worst thing I've ever done.
I'm amazed today, and I feel good today, because number one is you guys are here today. You know, how long you been clean?
Just a little over 3 years now.
All right. All right, get around the floor.
You have to be willing yourself, and I was just willing. I was tired of nosebleeds. I was tired of hangovers. I was tired of throwing up my life and looking in the toilet and sitting there saying, "Dang, another one." You know, I was tired of my kids coming in the house and seeing their father too high to get up. You know, my son, he wants to go outside and play. Well, I didn't want to play. I wanted to go and do drugs. you know. So something had to change, you know, and that touched me watching him cry, you know. And then when they came to visit me in jail, thinking about that, my son saying, "Are you back in here? How long is it gonna be this time?"
I'd been to rehabs before. They never really worked. I never really tried. And at this rehab, I really just kind of came in with an open mind. I was really at a really low point, and I wanted to build myself back up. So I started speaking in meetings. I started reading NA literature, AA literature, and I really just, time went by, you know, and I'm still in recovery, and I'm happy right now with where I'm at.
I'm glad we can actually do stuff like this now.
Me too. I really appreciate it. Honestly, the only thing that I would ever want to tell anyone that has been in my position is that it's not worth it at all. You're gonna get to the point, if not already, where you're not having fun, that it is sincerely your job. And it's not a fun one. It's not a job that you're gonna like. I couldn't see anybody saying that they're okay with their life and how it is if they're actively using on a daily basis. I couldn't see someone being happy.
I'm really proud of what you guys have accomplished. You're my heroes.
And just, you know, today, seeing myself where I was and where I am today are just completely two different people. And, you know, the amount of gratitude that I have for life today, you know, there's not enough time to sleep now because I love life so much. I want to be involved in it. I want to do something in it today versus there was no time to live because there's no point in living.
Besides being sober, I'm also very happy. I can actually get out of my house without having to take some drugs or drink before I actually go do anything. I no longer have to rely on those substances in order to get through my day. But the biggest thing about my new life is that I believe I have a purpose again, and I know I'm going to be successful as long as I actually put one foot in front of the other and continue to do what's necessary.